So a couple days ago I thought to myself, why don't I take two of my favorite things, that being the Helloverse and racing games, and combine them together to make a challenge run video. Because why the heck not? So yeah, I'll be trying to beat the entire base game of Forza Horizon 4 as Alastor from Hazmat Hotel. Now you're probably wondering what the heck I mean by that. Let me just explain. Now if you know anything about Alastor, you'd probably know that he died around the year 1933. And this is the main bit of information we're going to need for this challenge, as the cars we'll be using throughout the game will be used from that time period. On that note, let's get into the rules for the challenge. Rule number 1, I can only use cars from up to 10 years before the year 1933, meaning I can only use cars from the years 1933 to 1923. Rule number 2, no duplicate vehicles. This is just to make the challenge more interesting so I don't use multiple duplicate cars and just make multiple builds for them. And lastly, number 3, no races with custom track layouts. Now with all that out of the way, there's one more thing. How exactly do you beat Forza Horizon 4? Simple. There are 4 major racing series in Forza Horizon 4. Road, Off-Road, Cross-Country, and Street Scene. Each with their own final race. The Colossus, the Gauntlet, the Titan, and the Marathon. With the grand finale being the Goliath. Once these races are completed, the challenge is finished. Now with that out of the way, let's get started. So after tinkering with the settings and finishing one of the best intros in a racing game, I am definitely not being biased by saying this, we meet up with Rebecca and Kira to choose our first car. Those cars being the Ford Focus RS, the Audi TTS Coupe, and the Dodge Charger RT. Now, this is where we run into our first hiccup. You see, the oldest car we could pick from is the Dodge Charger, which was made in 1969. Keep in mind, Alastor died in 1933. I think you see the issue now. There's no way to avoid this and you are forced to drive the car you pick. But this is also the main reason why I made the title of the video, trying to beat and not can you beat, as there will be specific situations where you'll be forced to use specific vehicles. But for now, let's just choose the Charger and move on with our day. The first race gave us no trouble as we were able to get first place on our first try. Now onto the Go Away Anna! The second race was just as easy. After the race, we meet up with Joel, who says his friend Mike is in need of a stunt driver, and we agreed to help him out. And on the way there, I got to show off some of my off-roading skills.
Oh, calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down!
Or lack thereof. Okay, let's see what car we'll be driving. Oh, come on! After we finish this dump jump, Kira tells us to meet Alex, who's in charge of the off-road racing series. I am not setting a good first impression for myself, aren't I? So we go to meet Alex, and are you kidding me?
Hello?
Lancia it is, I guess. Alastor will not be happy right now.
Fuck you.
Anyway, we finish the off-road race and get a call from Jamin, who introduces us to the street racing series, and invites us to a race. Which, to no one's surprise, we won without issue. But I have a question to ask about this. If these races aren't set up by the festival, and he wanted to keep this a secret from Kira, why did he make the finish line right outside the festival? Really thought that one through, didn't you, Jay? After one more race, we finally get enough points to qualify for Horizon Autumn. So after being given a literal free house, okay, and skipping to Autumn, we finished another off-road race and finally get access to the auto show. Finally! Oh my god! We bought the Ford Deluxe 5-window coupe, so that's a really long name, meaning we can finally say goodbye to the Charger.
Know your fucking place, trash!
So now that we have a suitable vehicle, we just need to upgrade it. And with all the modifications finally installed, this is the final result. Yippee! Now I know what you're thinking. Alastor will not do this to his car. And to that I say, you're probably correct. However, there's one thing I want to ask. Do you really want to watch me drive a stock D-Class car for the rest of the video? Yeah, I didn't think so. On the way over to the next race, I realized I had some gifts to open, which the majority of were cars that I could not use. However, one of them was 10 super free wheel spins. Well, you know what that means. Fish. No, not fish, gambling.
Let's go gambling! Aw, dang it. Aw, dang it. Aw, dang it. Aw, dang.
Now with that out of the way, let's talk about something else. The car's handling. How does it drive? Surprisingly well, actually. I was expecting this car to just not handle well. It does slide a bit from time to time, but other than that, the car handles surprisingly well. After the next race, we head to the auction house because, believe it or not, we did actually get some money from the gambling earlier, and ended up buying a Bentley 8-liter, which will eventually turn into our road car next. And we will also be turning our Deluxe into our off-road car. Yeah, because turning a hot rod into an off-roader is something we need to do for this challenge. After all the necessary upgrades and becoming broke in the process, we do our next race with the Bentley. As for the handling of the car, it handles a lot better. It takes corners a lot smoother, and it drives surprisingly fast for a car made in 1931. Then again, I did convert it to all-wheel drive and put a V8 engine in it, so that might help with it. So after finishing the race with the Bentley, we head to the next event, which turns out to be a cross-country race. So we head our way there, and we have to pick another car. Or so you thought, game, because I could just pick the car, immediately swap back, and do the race with the Ford. And now the next question. How does this car handle off-road? Again, surprisingly, very well. I was not expecting this car to handle so well off-road, but hey, it does. I'm not complaining. And with that, we were able to finish the race relatively easily. So after definitely not struggling trying to get a fast travel board, we eventually got it. And finishing a race, we eventually qualified for Horizon Winter. Okay, so I just finished editing this part of the video, And I am so sorry for anyone who had to listen to my incredibly fast-paced talking. Oh my god, I did not realize I spoke that fast. Oh god, I am so sorry. Oh god. Anyway, on to winter. Finally heading into Horizon Winter, we need to talk about something. The Bentley. Remember when I said that the car had decent handling? Yeah, that gets thrown out the window the moment there's snow. Why? 2 words. Bicycle tires. Seriously, these tires are thinner than Stolas's waist. Why are they so skinny? Why? Alastor, would it kill you to put an extra inch of rubber on there? Seriously! Next up, we have it over to Bamberg Castle. The reason for this is so we can unlock a barn find, which actually has another car we can unlock. That being the Bentley 4.5 liter supercharged. So let's see how much the castle. Oh. Okay, never mind. So we start with the next race, and we actually encounter a Ferrari F40. One of my favorite cars ever made. I don't know if you could tell, but yeah, I wasn't exactly being subtle about that. And this is where the bicycle tires also come into play, because we happened to spin out and lose the race. So we had to restart the race, and this time I unfortunately had to do something I really did not want to do. It's a good thing that we did do that, because we ended up spinning out again. Seriously, these tires suck! And we end up finishing the race. One thing about the races is that some of them tend to have restrictions for certain vehicles. However, this can be easily fixed by using the blueprint system. I didn't really put too much thought into what vehicle class I should put in, so I just put anything goes and just wung it from there. Surely nothing bad will happen. That is a truck. Oh, you thought that was weird? There were also 2 Ferraris, a Honda NSX, and an RX-7. Yep, because this is the most normal off-road race you'll ever see. So we finished the race, and we have more trouble with another influence board. We got it again. These things are going to be Alastor's nightmare. And also hit a tree on the way to the next location. The next location being Fairlawn Manor. The reason why I want to get Fairlawn Manor is the fact that once you buy it, you can actually fast travel to any part of the map, which will save a lot of time in the long run. However, we don't have the funds for that right now, so we're going to have to leave this for another time. After a few more races, we finally qualify for Horizon Spring. Oh my god, thank you finally. I am sick and tired of the snow. Oh my god, look how beautiful that looks. While heading to the next race, we narrowly avoid a bunch of deer. Jeez, Alastor, are you trying to commit friendly fire? Actually, now that I think about it, he probably would.
Alastor! Do you mind? I'm in the middle of breakfast.
Al, less breakfast, more driving. So during the next race, I actually discovered a downside with the Ford. That downside being its road handling. On dirt, it drives completely fine. On tarmac, it tends to slide a lot, resulting in the car being not as easy to control. However, there was something else I discovered. It is that this car is very, very fast in straightaways. Seriously, look at this. However, despite all that, we were able to finish the race with relative ease, and failing to get another bonus board, we finally qualify for Horizon Life. After having to watch an unskippable cutscene, we finally gain access to the backstage passes. And the reason why this is actually useful is because there is actually another car we can unlock, that being the Napier Railton. I hope I'm saying that correctly. However, to get a backstage pass, it does cost 300 Forza points, and right now we're kind of broke, so I'm probably not going to be able to get this car throughout this run. On our way to the next race, we did a daily challenge called Do You Even Drift, Bro? Apparently Alastor can, just look at this. After completing the next race, we finally unlock our first major race, the Gauntlet. When it comes to these races, they're not really too different compared to normal races, it's just they're a lot longer, and one mistake could cost you the entire race. However, I've gotten a feel for this car, and I'm not too worried. Doing the race wasn't too difficult, in fact it was relatively easy to do for the first part of it. Well, I'm kind of in the middle of a race right now. Sure, there were some segments that gave me a bit of trouble, especially the ones with a lot of tight turns. However, remember I said that the car was really good in straightaways earlier? Yeah, with that up our sleeve, we were able to finish the Gauntlet and get our first major race done. The good news about this? No more off-road races, meaning we don't have to do any more off-road races, and for now we can only focus on race, street scene, and cross-country, which will save us a lot of time now. After finishing the Gauntlet, we do eventually come across a barn find, which ended up having a Jaguar in it. However, we can't really use any of these vehicles, but it is nice to have the XP. And next up is the city. There are a lot of races I haven't done in the city yet, so I just decided to go there and just finish them all in one go. You're winning easily, and now tougher drivatars want to challenge you. Would you like to raise the difficulty from highly skilled to expert to receive a 25% extra credit bonus?
Ha! No.
Nope. I am perfectly tempted staying where I am. So after grinding out the races for 30 minutes, we eventually made our way outside the city and made it to a street scene race. And this one was one of the more chaotic ones I've done. There were cars just spinning out everywhere, there was the car from Cyberpunk, and overall just a lot of traffic I had to dodge. Overall, just a pretty fun race, thought I'd mention it. After finishing the race, we reached an income of 2 million credits, meaning we could finally buy Fairlawn Manor. Oh Oh my god, finally. Look at Alastor, owning a hotel and a mansion. A little bit after buying the mansion, we were actually able to max our skill tier on our Bentley, so that's pretty cool. And after grinding out a few more races, we finally unlocked the Colossus, our second major race. So, how did this race go? Very easy, actually. Like, I had no issues. I did the race, I didn't spin out, I didn't have any issues with the car handling. It was just that easy. Like, it took around like 5.5 minutes to complete it. And just like that, we crossed the finish line with zero issue. I know this seems very anticlimactic, but that's just how the race was. And with that, we only need to focus on 2 more disciplines. However, at some point, we did need to focus a bit more on cross-country since our level was very low on that. So I decided to do a cross-country race, and I was doing pretty good. Until I made it to a ramp and accidentally flipped over my car.
Look at this fucking bullshit. Do a flip!
Yeah, I'm just gonna take the tunnel this time. I'm not taking that jump. So after finding another barn find, we eventually make our way to Lakehurst Forest. The reason being is that there's actually a house you can buy here. So after spending a bit too much time trying to find it, we go ahead and purchase it and finally have access to skill songs. Okay, that was quick. So it was at this point where I decided to take a little break from the challenge, and when I came back, it was winter. Oh boy. We got to the next race, which was a street scene race, and this one almost gave me a bit of trouble because this Lambo was not stopping. However, on the final corner, we were able to overtake them and get the win. And with that, we unlocked the marathon. This race actually had me a bit worried because, you know, the snow. However, I had to do this, so let's just get this over with. And not even a quarter of the way through the race, we are driving straight to the festival. Okay, Jay, are you even trying to hide it at this point? The race itself was definitely a bit more tricky than the Colossus, simply due to the fact that now there's snow on the ground, and I'm driving up against more unpredictable AI. However, I took my time, took it slow, made sure I didn't spin out in any corners, and eventually was actually able to get it done first try. Now with that done, now it's time to focus on cross country. And oh boy, we are gonna be here for a bit. After finishing a race, we get a wheel spin, and we get a Forza edition vehicle. Okay, so you're telling me I can get this, but not the Bugatti I want? Okay. One thing I noticed about the Ford is that it doesn't tend to do well against bumps and jumps. I mean, obviously. Hence why it tends to struggle a bit with cross-country. And oh boy, there are a lot of jumps in this series. However, we were finally able to finish the race. The next race was just very chaotic. The AI were just crashing everywhere. They had no sense of direction, or were just getting stuck in places. It was, I don't know what happened. The AI got so confused in fact that a Velociraptor blocked the road I was taking and was trying to impersonate a bulldozer.
You're up against the wall, and I am the fucking wall. Ah,
We got through them and eventually finished the race. The next few races did give me a bit of trouble. In one of the races, a Jeep overtook me in the last corner, nearly winning the race. However, we were on a straightaway, so it wasn't that big of a deal. We also got our Ford skill tree maxed out, so that's pretty good. And on the next race, our car rammed us into a wall. So yeah, the AI were not messing around this time. However, nothing was going to prepare me for what I was about to go up to. This stupid cross-country race. Oh my god. This was pain. This singular race has caused me more issues than the entirety of this run combined. So we start off the race with not really too much of an issue until we reach this point and the car flips over on its head. Okay, not that big of a deal. We'll just start it again. On the second attempt, I accidentally skip a checkpoint by taking the corner too quickly. Okay, I'll take that loss on that one. That's my fault. On the third attempt, I actually didn't do too bad, and I was able to complete most of the race. Until we made this jump and I skipped the checkpoint. Oh my god. On the next attempt, we lightly hit a wall, which causes us to spin out and have to restart. And on the next attempt, our car flips again. Why is this race causing me so many issues? So we do the next attempt, and on the same hill, the same stupid corner, I flip my car again. However, we were actually able to recover this time instead of staying stuck on our side or our roof. So I worked my way back to first place. And finally, after all this time, we'd finished the race. Oh my god. Why? However, with that race complete, we finally unlocked the Titan. With how the last few races have been going in cross country, I knew this one was going to be a tricky one. So starting the race, the AI are already very, very competitive. One of the racers were out front for the majority of the race until they eventually flipped out. But even then, the rest of the AI were keeping up and were actually right behind me for a good majority of the race. The layout itself was a bit tricky, but overall, it was a pretty fun race to do. And we ended up getting first place on our first try. Now with that finished, we only have one more race to do. The Goliath. In order to unlock the Goliath, you have to get your road racing series level to level 20. And right now, we are currently at level 11. Oh my god. So I figured the best way to get XP for this was just to grind out the Colossus for however long we needed to. I decided to convert the Ford back into a road racing car because it was the faster vehicle than the Bentley, and I wanted to get these races done as fast as possible. Heck, about half an hour in, I just started watching Hell of a Boss just to not get bored. Just to put into perspective of how long this grind took, I decided to put on X's and O's first, and did not finish until the end of Apology Tour. This grind took me over 3.5 hours in total just to unlock the Goliath. But after all that time, we finally unlocked the Goliath. Finally. So how did this race go? This is gonna sound very anticlimactic, but it was one of the easiest ones. Despite the snow and just the overall handling of the car, I was actually able to get this race done relatively easily. There were no issues and the AI couldn't even keep up with me. I know you guys were probably expecting some grand showdown with me and the AI racing for first, but that's not what happened. I'm still on highly skilled difficulty. But with that out of the way, we eventually crossed the finish line, which finally marks the end of this challenge. Hope you guys enjoyed whatever this mess of a video was. I've always wanted to do something like this for quite a while, and I didn't really have the time or the knowledge or just the editing skills to really pull something like this off, but now I do, so I was finally able to do this. If you came here just for the challenge run, then feel free to click off the video, as the rest of the video will just be me talking about just general things with the channel. However, if you do want to stick around for that, then feel free to. I know you guys are probably wondering why I'll make another video like this again, and the answer is probably not soon. Now, don't get me wrong, I loved making this video. It's one of the most fun things I made in a very long time. However, with how long it takes and the fact that I'm now working a full-time job, it's gonna be a bit tricky. So most of the content I'll be making moving forward will be like simple gameplay videos of just me having fun with my friends, kind of like how I did with my Need for Speed Unbound and Need for Speed Hot Pursuit video. On that note, that's really all I have to say, and I hope you guys have a good day. Take care.